A pleasant greeting to everyone. I'm M. Bhairavi. I'm an assistant professor in English in the Department of Corporate Secretaryship with CA and Professional Accounting. Today we are going to learn about sentence pattern. Before going into the topic sentence pattern, we must learn what is a subject and what is a predicate in a sentence. So a subject is something which refers to a person, place, or a thing that is mentioned in the sentence. The subject refers to who or what the sentence is all about. In short, it is the maker of a sentence. Without subject, a sentence can't be there. So it is the maker of a sentence. It is the base of a sentence. For example, John cooks food. In this sentence, John, he is the maker of the sentence. He is the base on which the sentence is constructed. So here, John is the subject of the sentence. Predicate. A predicate of a sentence gives us the detail about the subject. It talks about the subject. That is something, part of the sentence which talks about the noun, which talks about the subject is called as a predicate. Taking the same example, John cooks food. Here in this sentence, cooks food. It is the part of the sentence which is based on the subject John. So this cooks food is the predicate of this sentence. Okay. We shall move to the main topic. Sentence pattern. Sentence pattern. It refers to the word order. The pattern of a sentence may be identified by analyzing its word order that includes subject, verb, object, complement, and adjunct. So out of these five orders, these five patterns, the subject and verb are the most important, and it forms the skeleton of a sentence. Without the subject and verb, a sentence can't be there. This object, complement, and adjunct may happen. Either one of them may come in a sentence, or a combination of them may appear in a sentence. But without subject and verb, a sentence can't be there. Okay. First, we'll take subject. Subject is a noun, or it may be a noun phrase about which the rest of the clause is predicated. As we have seen earlier, the predicate is something which is based on the subject, which talks about the subject. So this subject is something about, it is something about which the predicate talks about. So this subject can be a noun, it can be a pronoun, a gerund, or it may be an infinitive. So first example, Ram plays cricket. In this sentence, Ram is the noun. It's a naming word. So this is a noun. It frames the subject of this sentence. The next example, she is cooking. In this sentence, we don't have any naming words. We have this pronoun she. So in this sentence, this pronoun she forms the subject of the sentence. Next, swimming is the best exercise. A gerund is something which ends with ing. It can't be a continuous tense. A continuous tense is different from a gerund. Gerund can be used as a substitute for a noun. So in this sentence, gerund substitutes a noun. In this sentence, this gerund, swimming, forms the subject of this sentence. Then, to err is human, to forgive is divine. In this sentence, this infinitives, to err and to forgive, these two infinitives frame the subject of this sentence. So you may have already known about this infinitive, right? Infinitive is something which includes the word to at its beginning. So in this sentence, that infinitive to err and the to forgive frames the subject of the sentence. So a subject will be anything. It may be noun, pronoun, gerund, and infinitive. It will be cleared by these examples. Okay. Then we are coming to the verb. A verb is the action. We already know this. An action, it denotes the action of the subject. It denotes the action done by the subject. For example, Niveta is a doctor. In this sentence, we don't have an action verb. In this sentence only have an auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb includes all be form verbs, have form verbs, and do form verbs. Auxiliary verbs may come as a helping verb to the action verb, or it may stand on its own, or the action verb may stand alone in a sentence. There is no rigid rule that both should appear in a sentence. Both auxiliary verb and action verb should appear in a sentence. You may have them individually, or you may have them as a combination depending upon the condition and need. So this example, Manu wrote a letter. In this sentence, we only have being verb, that is action verb in this sentence. Wrote is the action verb in this sentence. There is no auxiliary verb in this sentence. The next example, Madan has written a letter. So in this sentence, we have a combination of both. That is, we have the auxiliary verb has and the action verb written. We have a combination of both. You must qualify both these as verb. Okay. Next, we are passing on to the next pattern, that is object. Object is the receiver of an action in the sentence. Simply, you can find out object in a sentence in a simple manner. If a part of a sentence answers for the question what or to whom, it will frame the object of the sentence. You can look at the example. You can look at the first example. The hunter killed the elephant. In this sentence, the part, the elephant, it answers for the question what. The hunter killed what. So if it answers for the question what, then it is called as a direct object. The next example, Bama gave me a pen. In this sentence, take the word me. It answers for the question to whom. To whom Bama gave the pen. So if it answers for the question to whom, then it is called as a direct or indirect object. If it answers for the question what, then it is called as a direct object. If it answers for the question to whom, then it is called as a indirect object. In this sentence, we have a direct object too. That is a pen. Bama gave a pen. Bama gave me what? It answers the question what. So this what, this pen, it is called as a direct object. A sentence may have a direct object alone, or else it may have the combination of both direct and indirect object. An indirect object can't stand individually in a sentence. We have some verbs after which objects will occur. You may take these verbs as shortcuts to find objects in a sentence. For example, you can look at these verbs: like, love, construct, eat, speak, kill, discover, close, open, finish, begin, drive, write, read, receive, pull, push, learn, and meet. These are all the verbs after which the object will occur. You can frame some examples like Raja loves fish. So here, after this verb loves, we have fish. So this fish is an object. We may have another example. He writes letter. So in this sentence after this writes, we have the word letter. So this letter is an object. So you may take these verbs, you may keep these verbs in mind to find out the objects in a sentence. Then you have another set of verbs like told, gave, awarded, welcomed, offered, showed, asked, taught, bought, sent, and lent. So these verbs, if these verbs occur in a sentence, it will have two objects. As we have seen earlier, a sentence may have a combination of both indirect and direct object. So if these words appear in a sentence, then the sentence will have two objects, that is indirect and direct object. You can frame an example. Ram told Sita a story. So you can find both the objects in this sentence. You can find out by considering those questions. Ram told Sita a story. So here take Sita. Sita answers for the question to whom? To whom Ram told a story. So this Sita is the indirect object in this sentence. Ram told Sita a story. Ram told Sita what? The story answers for the question what? What Ram told to Sita. So the story is the direct object of the sentence. So these verbs, if these verbs happen in a sentence, if these verbs, any of these verbs occur in a sentence, then the sentence will have two objects, that is indirect and direct object. Then we are moving on to the complement. A complement is something which completes the meaning of a predicate. So as we have seen earlier, a predicate is about the subject. So if the predicate is incomplete and something is completing the predicate, then that something, that part is called as the complement. You take this example, I am a doctor. In this sentence, I is the subject and a doctor is the predicate. If you take this part, a doctor, out of this sentence, the sentence becomes incomplete. I am. It have no meaning. So if you include this part here, a doctor, you include this part, a doctor here, it completes the sentence. I am a doctor. It completes the sentence. So if something completes the predicate, then it is called as a complement. You can take other examples too. He feels sick. If you take this last part, sick, out of this sentence, you will have he feels. You don't know how he feels, what he feels. Simply, we have an incomplete part, he feels. But if you include this removed part, sick, into this sentence, you will find a complete sentence of how he feels, what he feels. So this sick, it frames the complement of the sentence. So something which completes a sentence, something which completes a predicate is called as a complement. You will have a shortcut to find out an object and a complement in a sentence. Every student from every stage of their academic have these doubts, have these dilemma, have this confusion while finding out object and complement. So we'll have some simple tricks, a simple shortcut. If you can convert a sentence into passive voice, then the sentence contains an object. If you can't convert a sentence into a passive voice, then the sentence will have complement. You take this example. I am a doctor. You can't convert this sentence into passive voice. And so we have this complement in this sentence, that is a doctor is a complement. If you take the example for object, take this example, the hunter killed the elephant. You can convert this sentence into passive voice, that is the elephant was killed by the hunter. So we can convert this into passive voice so that we can find out that we have object in this sentence. So this is a simple trick, simple shortcut by converting into passive voice. If you can convert a sentence into passive voice, then the sentence have a object. If you can't convert a sentence into passive voice, then that sentence contain complement. Then we have this adjunct at last. So adjunct is something which is called as an extra information in the sentence. A sentence can stand without an adjunct, but it offers some extra information. So it answers for the question how, when, and where. An adjunct may happen at any part of the sentence. It may come at the beginning, it may come at the end, or in the middle, anywhere. So it answers for the question how, when, and where. You take these examples. How an action is done, how the subject did an action, like quietly, clearly, easily, politely, softly. These are all the words which answers for the question how something is done, how some action is done. So if it answers for the question how, then it is an adjunct. Next, if it answers for the question when, like today, already, soon, after, recently, like this, when some action was done, then it is also called as an adjunct. Next, where, here, anywhere, in the box, upstairs, away, etc. So these are all the words which answers for the question where something is done, the location in which something is done, the location where something is. So if it answers for the question where, then it is also called as an adjunct. So for example, he drove the car carefully. This carefully here is the adjunct because it answers for the question how he drove the car. So if it answers for the question how, then it is called as an adjunct. The next example, in 1990, flood came. Here, adjunct happens at the beginning of the sentence. In the first sentence, adjunct is at the last part, but in this sentence, adjunct is at the beginning of the sentence. So it answers for the question when the flood came. So this is called as an adjunct. So here we have some exercise to find out the patterns. The first sentence, they are poor. So here, if you take the last part out of the sentence, the poor, if you take that part out of the sentence will stand incomplete. They are. This is an incomplete sentence. But if you include the last part, it will be complete. Another thing you can do is you can convert this into passive voice. You can't convert this sentence into passive voice. And so taking both the conditions into account, the last part of this sentence, that is the poor, it is a complement. So they is the subject of the sentence, and as we know, are is the verb, auxiliary verb of the sentence. So the pattern of the sentence is yes, we see. The next sentence, elders gave us advice. Elders is the subject, gave is the verb, us. This us answers for the question to whom the elders gave advice. So if something answers for the question to whom, then it is called as an indirect object. So the next part, advice. It answers for the question what the elders gave. If something answers for the question what, then it is the direct object. So the pattern of this sentence is yes, we, I will, and do. The next sentence, salt tastes sour. If you take the last part of the sentence will stand incomplete. So if something completes a sentence, then it will be the complement of the sentence. You can also find this by converting this into passive voice. You can't convert this sentence into passive voice. And so by doing so, you can come to a conclusion that this last part is the complement of the sentence. Salt is the subject and taste is the verb. So this pattern is yes, we, and see. The next sentence, he cuts the wood carefully. He is the subject of the sentence. This is the pronoun. This is the subject of the sentence. Cuts is the verb. The wood. He cuts what? The wood answers for the question what? He cuts what? So this is the direct object, or else you can put this as simply object. So S, V, O, carefully. This answers for the question how he cuts the wood. If something answers for the question how, then it is the adjunct part of a sentence. So this pattern is yes, V, O, and A. The next sentence, at school, he teaches Hindi. Here, at first we have at school. This answers for the question where. At school answers for the question where he teaches Hindi. So if something answers for the question where, then it is the adjunct. As we have studied earlier, adjunct can happen at any part of a sentence. So this appeared in the beginning of the sentence. So we have adjunct at the beginning. A. He, it is the subject. Teaches, it is the verb. What he teaches, Hindi. So this is object. So the pattern is A, S, V, O. The next sentence, he painted the wall. Here, he is the subject of the sentence. Painted is the verb of the sentence. The wall answers the question what. He painted what. So this is the object of the sentence. Yes, V and O. The last sentence, we appear me during exams. So here, we is the subject of the sentence. This is the pronoun. This is the subject of the sentence. Appear, it is the verb. So appear me during exams. It answers for the question how. How you appear during exams. How you appear during exams. So if something answers for the question how, then it will be the adjunct of the sentence. So here the pattern is yes, B, and A. Hope you're all clear with this sentence pattern and its usage. Thank you for listening. Thank you.